thank the member, and I call the member from Macquarie.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The shift to net zero is happening. And in Australia, along with the rest of the world, we're reducing greenhouse gas emissions so we reach net zero by the middle of the century. As a fossil fuel-based economy, this is a big change. We see enormous opportunity in this change for jobs and for industry advantage. The Net Zero Economy Authority is to ensure that we're looking after Australia's workers and the regions as we transform from a fossil fuel-based economy to a renewable energy superpower. Now, the way we navigate the change, and it's an economic change, but it'll have social impacts, the way we navigate the change is just as important as the destination. The authority will partner on behalf of government with industry and investors in getting big transformational projects happening. Projects that decarbonise our industrial facilities, that build new industries, that grow the future economic base for regions like the Hunter and, of course, my neighbour Lithgow. The authority will support workers in these communities where ageing power stations will be retired through the change, especially where the change may be significant. Working with employers, unions and others, it'll ensure that we're making good use of the highly skilled workers that we need more of in this net zero economy. The Net Zero Economy Authority complements more than $40 billion in government initiatives to reduce emissions and become a renewable energy superpower. Things like our Rewiring the Nation program to modernise the electricity grid so that it can get renewables from where they're generated to our homes. The Powering the Regions Fund, which will help existing industries decarbonise and support the new clean energy industries. The Critical Minerals Facility to grow that critical minerals production sector that is so crucial as we go forward. The Hydrogen Head Start program supporting development of large-scale renewable hydrogen projects. And, of course, the National Reconstruction Fund to diversify and transform our industries in this net zero economy. These are all crucial steps. But you can't fully achieve net zero without workers. It's absolutely essential that we develop the clean energy workforce. The Albanese Labor government's investing $91 million over 5 years to help skill Australia's clean energy workforce, and we announced that in the budget. That includes things like $50 million for a new capital and equipment investment fund for facility upgrades to expand clean energy training capacity across wind, solar, pumped hydro, grid battery storage, electricity networks and hydrogen, as well as key electrical and construction trades. Funding will be directed to facilities that and building that capacity that is actually preventing people from entering apprenticeships, and regional, rural and remote communities experiencing workforce transitions will also be targeted. And this ensures that the opportunities arising from the net zero transition are shared around the country. Another of the initiatives we have, and I think previous speakers have just talked about how important this workforce is, $30 million to turbocharge the vocational education and training teacher, trainer and assessor workforce for clean energy. We need to make sure we've got enough teachers to train that workforce, and we'll focus on making it easier for skilled professionals to move between working in industry and teaching at registered training organisations. As we go through this transition, we also are providing support for small and medium businesses, taking on clean energy construction and manufacturing apprentices as priority occupations through access to the group training organisation services, with up to $1,500 in annual reimbursements over the life of an apprenticeship, over the apprenticeship. And these small to medium organisations have a part to play. So this particular bill sits at the heart around it, and there's a suite of things that go with it as we move towards net zero. I think I've talked about the workforce, but what I really want to emphasise is the opportunities that this creates for young workers. So the Net Zero Economy Authority is going to be really looking at the workers who transition from the old energy heavy and intense industries into the new energy ones. But there's also opportunities for young workers. The expansion of our programs, one of which is the New Energy Apprenticeship Program, that one will actually provide apprentices with up to $10,000 to help with cost of living pressures that they face. And the expansion of this program means more clean energy apprentices can be in training to support that transition to net zero from the 1st of June this year. Young people around Australia are going to be encouraged to take up clean energy opportunities, helping them secure jobs of the future and support this transformation. So that's the people, because none of it happens without the people. But then there's a whole lot of strategies that sit alongside this. And in just the last couple of weeks, we launched the National Battery Strategy. Again, one of the new areas that we know we can have an advantage. The first National Battery Strategy is part of our Future Made in Australia and shores up our economic resilience and security. We know the global demand for batteries is going to quadruple by 2030. As the world transitions to net zero. And the strategy maps a path for Australia to take advantage of this growth to build a thriving battery industry. It identifies 4 high-value strategic opportunities. One is around stationary storage. That's building those systems to firm renewable power generation in the grid and for communities, businesses and homes. The batteries that all look different but sit around our homes and bigger versions around our industries. But we've also got an opportunity to provide battery-active materials to the world by upgrading raw minerals into processed battery components to strengthen those supply chains. We can also leverage our world-leading know-how to build safer and more secure batteries that connect to the grid. And the fourth opportunity we have is building batteries for our transport manufacturing industry, including heavy vehicle manufacturing. We are a pioneer of battery technology, but over many decades we've sent our know-how offshore and we've lost the jobs that they create. We really need to move beyond that dip and ship economy and become what we can be, that is a key player in this market. Deputy Speaker, as we think about this move to net zero, to an economy that is net zero, one of the key considerations we have is around consumers and how they will be protected. We're helping Australians by pushing bills down as we shift into delivering clean, cheap, reliable renewables. So that's why we're extending energy bill relief. The $3.5 billion to do that recognises that our economy hasn't shifted enough into renewables, which are, of course, the cheapest form of energy. We're also, though, looking at $47 million over 4 years for energy reforms that put consumers first, including things that allow consumers to switch to a cheaper energy deal. We're unlocking greater savings from Australia's world-leading uptake of consumer energy resources, such as rooftop solar, batteries and electric vehicles, which could avoid $10 billion in network costs alone for consumers as they switch. And we're investing in the Australian Energy Regulator to boost capacity and information for households on what their energy choices are, as well as reviewing electricity market laws to ensure consumers can be protected from misconduct. Now, these are some of the initiatives that sit alongside a bill that creates an authority to oversee so much of this transition. At the heart of this net zero economy authority are people. The sooner we invest in integrating our consumer energy resources like our batteries and our solar into the grid, the faster we are going to see the benefits. And I should mention the new vehicle efficiency standard is also going to save Australians $95 billion at the Bowser and reduce transport emissions, all really key parts in this transition to a net zero economy. A transition that is happening now, not one that is coming, one that we are already in the process of making happen. There is, Deputy Speaker, one last point I'm going to make, and that is just looking at what alternatives have been brought up. And when we look at this net zero economy authority, the one thing it won't be doing is looking at nuclear. The costings show us that nuclear is the most risky, most expensive option that we have. Instead, the Albanese government is getting on with the job with record investments in renewables, batteries and large-scale storage, and the most affordable options for Australians: clean, cheap, reliable, renewable energy to create a resilient system that Australians deserve.